Okay, that is all of the insulation and the plasterboard for our house, currently going up to the house. Not exactly the weather for putting plasterboard and insulation up, but
well, I am exhausted, but we have the lorry offloaded. That stuff over there is the rigid insulation. You can actually see there are 3 different sizes. We have the really thick stuff here. So that goes into the vaulted ceiling. That's all of this stuff. You have this stuff. That's for the kind of exterior walls. And then this thinner stuff here, this is for the interior walls. In fact, that stuff might be acoustic insulation as well too. So that is the rigid insulation, but if we're to the lean-to, show you the rest of it. So here is the rest of the insulation, and thank goodness I cleared out the lean-to because this came in really handy. You don't really want this stuff sitting out in the wet. This is all of the rock wool soft insulation. So there's actually 2 sizes. One size, I forget which, is for the loft, to fill the loft. That's 400mm depth that's going to go in the loft. And then this stuff, say, is going in the walls, and that is 140mm depth. So remember, this goes in the walls, the rigid insulation goes on top of that, and then we have the service battens, like for the cables and stuff to run, and then the plasterboard. So it's a hell of a lot of insulation going into the walls. So yeah, this stuff actually is the very first stuff that needs to go into the house. So I'm going to start taking all this apart and moving it into the house quite soon. And then I'll show you what's in the house currently. Well, actually, quickly, these here are your service battens or service battens. So they are 38 by 50, I believe. And those will get strapped on top of the insulation to form a gap that will allow us to run, well, pipework, cables, and the like. But if we go into the house, this is what took us the longest. How many are in here? We've got 2, 4, 60. So there is 60 in a stack, and there are 3 stacks. Each bit of plasterboard weighed 31 kg, and we carried them in 2 at a time. So yeah, 3 pallets of this that we were lifting in. And ironically, the plasterboard is the last thing that needs to go into the house. We don't actually need this until the very end, but of course I want to keep it dry, so we have lifted all of that in here. Here are all the walls uncovered. You can see here 12, 25, 9, 19, 14, all the different numbers. Basically all you do, I say all you do, but you go to the plan here and you can see, for example, bedroom 2, this is section 11. So you find section 11, where it is. Yeah, so here's section 11 here. That forms that wall, and you build it all out. Right now, I'm very tired, so I'm going to go down and get a cup of coffee. But, job done.
So we're in the living room. Still got a pile of insulation here, so we are not done yet, but we've made some progress. Take note of my voice, and specifically the echoiness of my voice, because as we move into here, all of a sudden it sounds a lot more deadened, and that's because I have almost finished insulating this whole, I call it a room, but of course this is going to be 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. But yeah, went pretty well, pretty easy. Took the rolls in here, unrolled them there. I've got a mark on the floor here and over there, and then I would just cut them to length. And luckily, they are pre-cut in half so that they fit almost perfectly between the standard width distance in the studs, between the studs. And yeah, pretty good. Now, there are still some bits to do. There's like well, you can see a gap here. And then this bit, which is like a little void that goes back, I need to do that. There is, I think, no, I've done these things under the windows. Stupidly, of course, I put the plasterboard here just because we needed somewhere to put it. And means I can't really get to that very easily, but that's no problem. This stuff is not using this insulation, it's using the acoustic insulation. I'll do that later on, so that's quite good. It means that this stuff doesn't have to get moved. And then in here, well, obviously we don't need any insulation on this wall, so that stuff doesn't need to be moved either. But I think the next step, because I've actually done the porch now, you can see here, here is the porch pretty much finished. I think there's a little void space there, another one there that needs to be done, but that is pretty much all finished. And yeah, I think I'm going to move into here. I didn't think it would be this quick. This is really me just been doing this for about a full day. I didn't start till about 3 o'clock yesterday, and it's only just about 2 o'clock now. I didn't get started till about 10 in the morning, so it's not been too bad. I have been taking my time with it and going quite slowly. I still need to go around the room and sort of tease out and make sure that this stuff is at its full depth, and just make sure that all the gaps and stuff are plugged. You can see up there, for example, in this corner, it could do with a little bit of packing around the edge there as well. So but I want to do that at the end. I'm trying to get the kind of easy stuff out the way and then go around the whole room and just make sure, pick it all out. And yeah, been going pretty well. I have my dad's Jackery box up here, which is a mobile battery bank. And it's been great because I can use that to run cables, and I can have the radio on, I can have the lights on. We've actually wired up a light in here as well too, just an LED light that we can have on at night when I'm doing this. Because of course the advantage of Scotland in the summer is that the sun never sets up here. But the disadvantage in the wintertime is, of course, that it gets dark very, very quickly. I have the generator here, which I had running yesterday as well too, but it's a bit loud and noisy. So yeah, I think now the next step is start unrolling the insulation here and start putting it up here. So let's get started. Well, that was a lot easier than I was expecting, actually. Took me about 2 days in total to get this done. I'll bet if I was on a bit more of a rush timescale, I probably could have done it even faster. But I really wanted to take my time and go around and make sure I'd cut everything to size properly. I still need to go around and like sort of pull out the wool and fluff it up a little bit more to make sure that, you know, when I was putting it into the cavities, I hadn't compressed it too much. Obviously, it'll naturally expand somewhat. I think I probably, if I'd done this again, I would have let it expand a bit more on the floor. I was unrolling it, cutting it, and putting it into the cavities like straight away. But it's naturally expanded over time. And I've managed to pull out a lot of these elements as well too. There's some pieces up here that I still need to do at the very top of the gable end there. I need to fill it with some of the wool. Still need to do a few little tiny gaps and basically go around, like I said, and just kind of make sure that everything is put together properly. But yeah, that was a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. And you notice it immediately. When you walk in here, there's far less echo and reverberation when you're talking, but the place actually feels warmer and a lot more sound deadened, essentially. This I didn't expect to be able to do myself, but I was able to do it quite easily. So the next stage is basically to take the large sheets of rigid insulation, put that up to the walls and get started on that. And I've got some through in the back, so let's go have a look at that now. So we're in the back now. This is the bedroom with the ensuite there. That's the loft insulation up above us. And here is one of the big boards of rigid insulation. So this will now get put on top. It'll literally just go up to the wall like this, secured and taped in place. And then on top of that will go the 38 by 50 mil battens, which will secure all of this to the wall. And then you'll run all your cables and pipework through that space that the battens makes, and then the plasterboard goes on top of that. Now, I think I might have got the stats wrong earlier on in the video. This is 50 mil thick insulation going on the exterior here, on top of the 140 mil thick cavity insulation. So really, really a heck of a lot of insulation. And something that, I'll get out my phone here, it's probably easier to see. Something that's quite crucial about this is the way that the insulation of the floor meets the insulation of the wall. So you can see this is 50 mil thick insulation. Here's obviously the rock wool. And then if you go down here, you can see there's actually insulation at the edge of the floor here. This is also, just back off. This is also 50 mil deep. So this insulation will sit perfectly on top of this. And this joint is quite crucial because this is the underfloor insulation and the underfloor heating. There's 150 mil insulation underneath us here and the pipes for the underfloor heating. But here is 50 mil that runs around the entire edge of the house, and it is to meet the 50 mil that then continues up the wall, and then that is to meet the, 400 deep insulation that is up there in the loft. So the idea being that in the insulation system in the house, all of these joints are meeting together. That the insulating property, the insulation properties work best, obviously, when all the different elements are connected and touching each other. So, yeah, this insulation goes up against the wall, butts up against the 50 mil insulation that's already in the ground, goes up to the ceiling, loft insulation up there, obviously, and then plasterboard going on top of all of that. But yeah, you can get a better idea here of the wall insulation. There's a little bit left still to do, as you can see here. I just couldn't be bothered doing it because I'd have to move all of this plasterboard out of the way. But yeah, so the next stage, which we'll do in another video, is I'm going to start bringing in all of this insulation, which is still stacked outside, and I'm going to start putting it up to the wall, bringing it all round. Once we've done that, vapor barrier on top. Once we've done that, we put on those 38 by 50 mil battens, spaced, I believe 400 or 600 apart vertically, I guess matching up with the studs that are in the wall. And then we're ready to get the electricians in and the plumbers in. So exciting times. But anyway, I think that is enough for one day, one video. I'll see you in the next one. I am tired.